Hot topic, hot topic. So I've been watching a lot of Anthony Pompliano lately. He was just recently on the Robert Kiyosaki podcast talking about Bitcoin. And he was also on Bill Burr's podcast, which Bill Burr, for those of you guys who don't know, is a comedian. He's pretty hilarious. I love Bill Burr. He's one of my favorite comedians. He actually reminds me a lot of an uncle I have. But yeah, so Anthony Pompliano, I knew about him before I watched either one of these podcasts. I've seen him on a lot of major news networks. I know he's a major Bitcoin bull. He talks a lot about Bitcoin. And I don't think he's so much a BTC maximalist. I think he does believe in a multi-crypto asset world, whatever you want to call it. But I want to address some things that I actually disagree with him about. And I think he does a great job as far as explaining Bitcoin and making it easy to understand. And I think all his points are generally right. But I think he actually, like a lot of Bitcoiners, miscalculate in what Bitcoin actually is. So Bitcoin, as it started, was intended to be peer-to-peer currency. It was intended to be a currency that existed outside of the financial system that people could use, a system that people could use and was transparent, and they could opt out of the traditional messed up finance monetary system. So Bitcoin has a lot of benefits as money because of the technology blockchain, right? Blockchain allows you to have a ledger that is always transparent and auditable. And you can program something like digital scarcity, which is something that is similar to gold. So, like I said, originally, Bitcoin was intended to be peer-to-peer currency. And what happened was, after 10 years of market life, or maybe not even 10 years, the Bitcoin gold narrative at some point became very popular, because what people realized is that Bitcoin was not circulating like money does. Bitcoin is not functioning the way that the dollar or other fiat currencies do. So people decided to say, okay, well, look, Bitcoin will never be a peer-to-peer currency in the same way that dollars are. You probably won't use them in your everyday life, but you can absolutely store your wealth in them because they're digital gold. They have all the properties of gold. So gold has been valuable for thousands, millions of years, etc., whatever you want to believe. So there you go. It's a product market fit. Bitcoin has its product market fit. And I think a lot of people who are very bullish and very, very pro Bitcoin, I think their belief is that one day that Bitcoin will somehow become the new world reserve currency. So here's my belief when it comes to Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency that's on the market. And one thing that I think would benefit a lot of people before you jump into cryptocurrency to understand, and I think I'm right on this, and I think I will be proven right eventually, but cryptocurrencies are consumer products, right? And when you're dealing with consumer products, consumer behavior does not change, okay? So it's just like a pair of sneakers. You have Adidas or you have Nikes, or you have Ford or you have Chevy, or you have Nike or you have Adidas. These are consumer products. And while both of them can be successful, because of the nature of consumer behavior, we know that there will always be, if you have a free market, competition. There will always be somebody who wants to step in and say, oh, I want to do it like this. Or no, I think that's cool, but I think this is a little bit better. You know what I mean? So that's what a free market does. And when it comes to money as we know it today, fiat, money that is granted value by the government saying it has value and by taxes, well, that's not a free market, right? So in a free market, yeah. I mean, in a non-free market, you're going to pretty much have no choice. People have been programmed to believe we need one currency. This is the currency that I use. I'm from this part of the world, so I'm going to use dollars. Other countries can use pesos or euros or shekels or whatever. It's pretty much accepted that money comes from the government. So people don't even, there is no competition. If you try to get away from the dollar, usually it's more of a heartache than it's worth. Now, where I think we're going is a world of, and this is what blockchain ultimately represents to me, is free market everything. Because everything is going to get tokenized eventually. When you learn about Web 3.0, it's all about tokenizing everything. You know, everything will be tokenized, put onto the blockchain, and the blockchain is the truth machine. It is the ledger that always tells the truth. And you have to, whenever you need truth, you look on the blockchain, it's transparent, anybody can look at it, and it's there. Understanding that we are moving towards a free market ecosystem much more than we have today, and a much more pure form of capitalism, I would argue. Actually, I think it's going to be a bottom-up form of capitalism, which I've talked about in my decentralized liquidity video. If you're interested in that, go ahead and check that out. But where we're heading is a much more free market ecosystem for everything. And specifically when we're thinking about money, currency, like I said before, cryptocurrencies are simply a consumer product. And what that tells me, rule number one, is there will be more than one, right? And too often I hear from Bitcoin, well, actually, you know what? Bitcoin maximalists actually only believe in BTC, which to me makes a lot more sense than believing in BTC will be the dominant cryptocurrency forever. And yet we'll have all of these other successful cryptocurrencies that people can actually choose from. I think the cryptocurrency that will attract the most value is the one that gets used the most. It seems pretty straightforward in my logic. Maybe I'm miscalculating somewhere, but it's like a social network like Facebook or Instagram. The ones that, there are plenty of other social networks out there that we don't know about because we don't use them. And it's hard to break, even if they are superior in some sort of way. It's very hard to break network effects. And that's what a social network like Facebook is. It's just a network. Once you sign up, you have your friends, you have your family, people that are in your contact list that, you know, you might have forgotten, but there you go, you can have them, business acquaintances. Unless you can easily port that information over, which now you can do because of blockchain, because they don't all share the same, they don't have private databases. We all share a public blockchain. So if I get tired of blockchain-based Facebook tomorrow, I just say, look, I got all my contacts, my social network, it all comes with me. If I leave YouTube tomorrow, it all comes with me. My following comes with me. Now, in this old dichotomy that we have here with private databases, my following on YouTube is my following on YouTube, and my following on Twitter is my following on Twitter. Hive is different. Everything is different. Everywhere you go, it's different. But with blockchain, since nobody owns the database, it comes with you. All right, so back to Bitcoin. And this video is not to say that Bitcoin doesn't have any value or it won't perform well in the short to medium term, just like gold might perform well in the short to medium term. This video is to simply say that, in my opinion, I think Bitcoin sacrificed its opportunity to be the global standard of wealth when it adopted this digital gold narrative. Now, peer-to-peer currency, it had a shot at being the global standard of wealth because of the network effects, because of utility, because of people using it. There are real network effects from that. Now, when it comes to store of value, we know how many people actually invest in gold. You know, today, everybody knows about it. Everybody has access to it. It's easy. It's simple. It's not hard to invest in gold, but yet people still don't do it. In the same way they don't invest in the stock market, in Forex, you name it. The majority of people are not interested in speculating with their money. This is why we have things like 401ks and government retirement plans, because people don't really, I mean, some people will plan ahead, but still they don't feel confident investing in their money in something they don't understand. That's just consumer behavior, and it doesn't change. In closing, I think that Bitcoin as digital gold will only attract a certain percentage of the population. And I actually think, like gold, digital gold will lose less and less. It will lose appeal as we build a more resilient financial system. People often use Bitcoin and gold as a hedge against our bad system, but what happens when we have a good system? Then I think free market takes over, more people get involved, and people want to, interact. People don't look to invest, people want to interact. People will go on social networks to interact, and it will be the most natural thing in the world to interact with a currency in between. It will become just a part of our culture. You have this token, I have this token, we trade. There's some token in the middle that decides price, and that will be the highest utility token, and that will be the global standard of wealth.